Good evening and welcome. You're watching Breaking Views with me, Sanket Upadhyay, the show where we get you all the views so that you get the complete picture. Now, the RSS chief, in a move that is unprecedented and has never been done, decided to go to a madrasa, to a mosque, interacted with students studying in that madrasa. And we'll, in just a short moment, tell you what all he said. He had a very frank conversation. There were, I think, about 300 children over there, where he said, मदरसे के छात्र कुरान भी पढ़ें और गीता भी, मदरसों में आधुनिक शिक्षा, which basically means that they should learn the Quran as well as the Gita. They should get modern education. India is one from the Himalaya to the seas. He then says, सबके रास्तों का सम्मान हो, जन्नत मिलेगी. Everyone's route must be respected. He then says, मदरसे में मुस्लिम छात्रों को कई समस्याएं आती हैं, that students here in madrasas face a lot of problems. हिंदी का ज्ञान ना होने के कारण छात्रों को दिक्कत आती है, because they do not know Hindi properly, they face a lot of problems. मदरसे के छात्र एयरपोर्ट स्टेशन पर फॉर्म नहीं भर पाते, they face problems in filling up forms, so their education must be modernized. That was the message that the RSS chief gave, among the many other things that he discussed. But you see, this is an important visit, because this also sends a very important message to the community and also to the political stakeholders, particularly their own, the Sangh Parivar, the Bharatiya Janata Party. So is there a message? Is there an important message in this particular meeting? Let's tell you one by one what all has happened. So the RSS chief and Muslim thinkers, about a month ago this meeting happened, and a few of those intellectuals are going to join us in just a short moment. This meeting happened amid rising tensions. The RSS chief reached out. They also reached out to him. These talks took place in Delhi about a month ago. Some say that it was kept a secret for a month, and now finally it's been revealed. Now, as far as this meeting is concerned, both sides agreed that it's important to dial down the rhetoric. That is very important. The meeting also took place in the aftermath of Nupur Sharma's prophet comment, and Bhagwat and Muslim thinkers agreed to meet again, and the RSS chief gave names of 4 top RSS officials to follow up. Now, lots of things were said, and we'll run those graphics on the screen, but I would like to introduce 3 of the 4 or 5 top prominent people who met the RSS chief. They are with us. Mr. Najib Jung, the former Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, Lieutenant General Zamiruddin Shah, he was also part of that meeting. Thank you very much, Lieutenant General Shah. And Dr. S.Y. Qureshi, former Chief Election Commissioner of India, who were all part of this delegation who met the RSS chief. Now, there is a meeting that has happened today with Mr. Ilyasi of the Imam organization. We will have him join us in just a short moment from now on what he actually did in the madrasa and the mosque. But let me start with you, Lieutenant General Zamiruddin Shah. How do you look at this, this meeting with you, his recent comments where he's saying that don't look under every mosque for a shivling, and meeting with you, going to a mosque, saying a lot of things which are seen like an outreach. Do you feel that there is a larger message from the RSS? Or this is just a nice thing to say or do? Lieutenant General Shah.
Yes, I think it's a very, very positive message, okay? I've always believed that one look is worth 1,000 reports. And his visit to a mosque and a madrasa and talking to the students would remove any doubts he would have had on the feelings and sentiments of madrasa students. These have wrongly been depicted. I have been closely associated with madrasas. Nowhere have I found any negativity or any national activity, any national, anti-national lessons being taught. I think this has sent a very, very positive message across India. There are sensible people in the RSS. We are very, very convinced of it. And Sri Bhagwat Ji, I think, is very, very open-minded to all views. Our meeting with him on 22nd of August was a very, very positive meeting at all. You say it was a secret meeting. No, it was not. We kept it. We did not publicize it at all till the news channels got hold of it, because I think premature disclosure of anything would negate any efforts by us to carry out the process of dialogue. It is open, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think a very positive message has gone to the rest of the country.
Yes. Mr. Najib Jung, you see a number of things have been said in media reports on what the RSS chief said to you. Maybe you can confirm. And what you told the RSS chief, which you can tell us about. So the RSS chief is believed to have told you that Hindus are upset by the use of terms like kafir and cow slaughter. RSS has no objection to Muslims practicing their faith. Told Hindus should not look for shivling under every mosque. Constitution is sole basis for all decisions. Hindu Rashtra concept should not be seen as anti-Muslim. All sides have hotheads in their ranks who need to tone it down. Do you feel that's the larger message and a welcome message?
You know, it seems as if you were sitting in the meeting.
No, just quoting media reports. This is just some research that we have pulled out.
You know,
please correct me if I'm wrong. I'll pull down this graphic.
No, actually, Sanket, we thought that this meeting was essential. And the reason is that recent incidents particularly, and I'm not talking of the last 7-8 years, but recent incidents seem to have caused a greater forge between the communities. And so it was time that we sought the meeting with perhaps the most important Hindu organization in the country. I must tell you that we were received with great graciousness and warmth, and the discussions were extremely open. I mean, there was nothing hidden. Fundamentally, there are differences of understandings, but nothing that cannot be bridged. So let's understand something, that in the Vedic Dharma, anybody and everybody is allowed to practice their own religion. In the Vedic Dharma, if I'm a Muslim, I can go do my namaz and my roza. And if I'm a Christian, I can go to a church and go on Sunday prayers. There is no restriction on what I can do. The problem, and Mr. Bhagwat pointed that out, is that in the Abrahamic religions, you choose to say that my path is the best. And that is where the problem occurs, and that's what he laid on the table up front. He said, you are welcome to do what you want, but don't think that my path is wrong. And I think we appreciated that. And after this meeting, when we have spoken to a large number of Muslim community, they completely agree, because under Islam, the Quran is very clear that your path is yours and mine is mine, and there's no compulsion in religion. Unfortunately, when we choose selective pieces of the Quran and misquote them, then there are apprehensions of mind. So this kind of dialogue helps us to remove those doubts and those confusions. And he said several things. He said, look, you must understand the sensitivity to the cow for the Hindu mind. You are unable to understand how sensitive we are to the cow. She's a mother. And I think that's a point well taken. And I think Muslims at large should appreciate it. And we pointed out that, look, there are also issues amongst Muslims. I mean, if you call a Muslim a jihadi constantly, then there is a reaction from the other side. He doesn't want to be called a jihadi. He doesn't want his nationalism tested at every corner of the street. This man is born here. His grandfather was born here. He chose not to go to Pakistan. His cousins are in the army, in the civil services. So let's not do that. So to cut a long story short, this was a very freewheeling discussion. And we came to the conclusion that the differences are such that can be ironed out. But they can only be done if we have free and frank dialogue, unafraid of each other, and be able to say what we want. And I must say, I must thank his graciousness, because the way he accepted our perspective, and then he made it clear when we spoke of Dharam Sansad and so on. He made it clear that please understand, we favor no such activity. We are only standing for the Constitution of India. There is no such thing as going against the Constitution ever. That he underlined repeatedly. So to cut, I've spoken a lot, and I think my friend Yakuba is waiting, that this is a very fruitful meeting. It is the beginning of an initiative.
Yes,
ये इश्क नहीं आसान, इतना तो समझ लीजिए, एक आग का दरिया है और डूब के जाना है.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल. Dr. Qureshi, you see, the thing is that yes, this is an aag ka darya, but the point is, are you hopeful that this conversation that you have had with Mr. Mohan Bhagwat will percolate down to the ground, or do you fear that it may end up just being a very cordial, academic, intellectual exercise between one head versus prominent citizens from the Muslim community such as yourself? Because if that happens, this makes no difference on the ground.
Yeah. I have no doubt in my mind that this conversation was not in a small room with closed doors. He has made a public statement which he referred to. For instance, the statement that Hindus should not look for a shivling under every mosque. That's a public statement which he repeated before us. A very powerful statement, very strong statement, and surely he has an audience of lakhs and lakhs. And of course, he has some detractors also, which he himself mentioned. And we have received a few hostile messages for him also on WhatsApp. But I'm sure his message will percolate, because he has a following across the country, across the world. Surely there will be that will be effective. And the fact that our conversation happened about a month ago, and in the same spirit today he visited a small mosque and a madrasa. So after a gap of 30 days, if he actually implemented what he was telling us, I have a great hope from this meeting.
The reason why, Dr. Qureshi, I ask you this question is because when you juxtapose his visiting a madrasa with a lot of criticism that Mr. Yogi Adityanath is drawing for ordering a survey of the madrasas as well as Waqf property in Uttar Pradesh, one tends to wonder whether there is a gap or a difference or a divide in the way different arms of the Sangh Parivar are thinking. The BJP says that this is a legitimate exercise. Survey is part of the law.
So yeah, fair enough. I think Mr. Bhagwat made it very clear that it may take some time for the message to percolate. So the hate discourse has been going on for years, and the current statement surely will take some time, and he himself was conscious of that. So if not today, tomorrow something or the other will happen. And in fact, the Muslim community is upset that why is it only that Muslim institutions are picked up. So if there was a survey of all the schools and Gurukul and Pathshalas, nobody would mind. And in a way, on the other hand, many of us are happy that, at least when you go and visit a masjid and madrasa will get demystified. Madrasa is an Urdu-Arabic word for a Pathshala. Call it Pathshala, and what happened there exactly is teaching. And particularly, young people, for the Muslims.
So you feel this opening up is going to help with people visiting?
Yes,
okay.
Of course, yeah, because actually, if you look at the masjid
demystifying is an interesting word.
Yeah. Masjid architecture, it may have an outside gate, but inside, there are no closed rooms, just a small room for imam or the muezzin to stay. Nothing else.
But then his very important message, where he says, Madrase mein chhatra Quran bhi padhe aur Gita bhi. Basically, he's talking about modernizing education in madrasa.
Yeah, correct. The modernization of madrasa has been on the table for the 30 hours. administrator of Haryana, Punjab and Himachal and Chandigarh Waqf Board 25 years ago. For 6 years, all the masjids and madrasa were under me. And I have been to hundreds of them, and we introduced computer 25 years ago. So, but basic, the basic necessity for a madrasa was that Muslims expect their children to learn the Quran once in their lifetime. Now, the Quran is not taught in a government school, is it? So therefore, he has to go somewhere. Either those who can afford a tutor, private tutor.
Would you then say that what Mohan Bhagwat is expecting from a madrasa, that apart from Quran, Gita must also be taught? Then there should be some sort of a standard. Then in schools also, you should have the Gita part and also lessons in Quran.
Good point. Very good point. And surely. If it is equal treatment to all religions.
But then again, there will be a problem if there is a universal approach. Then that has been a great subject and a very touchy issue, I must say, as far as madrasas are concerned, or even on the other side. Now, Lieutenant General Shah, I want to come back to you. You see, there was a very important word, and again, as Mr. Jung said, it appears as if I was there in the conversation. I was not. But this is what we have learned from the media reports, that there was a conversation about hotheads everywhere. Not just among the Hindus, but even among the Muslims. People who are dial-a-bite, very, very easy, rent and anger, rent outrage sort of people on both sides of the religious divide. Do you feel that this is what needs to be reined in?
Absolutely. The hotheads need to be reined in, and not even reined in, they need to be punished. The hotheads
across all religions.
Of all religions. All religions have these hotheads, and Shri Mohan Bhagwat said that we cannot control them, but he reassured us that irrespective of what they say, we had brought up the threat of disenfranchisement of non-Hindus, and he said nothing will be done which is virus of the constitution. Everything will be done according to the law of the land. So we are pretty reassured by that, and I think that the media and the WhatsApp factories need to be checked. These fellows should be punished if they spread any hate messages. That's the thing I would like to convey.
Sure. Najib Jung, last word. I want to know from you, what sort of a message does it have for the political fraternity? Number one, to begin with, for the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is like a sister organization, and also largely for the politics of hate.
I just want to go back to the hotheads that you raised.
Sure.
Sanket, a good religious man is able to temper and control his emotions. A good religious Hindu priest or a Maulana or a Catholic priest is not a hothead. So being a religious person does not take you to hotheadism. This is the ruffian who has taken control over society in every mohalla to get close either to the ruling party or to the opposition party. So we need to distinguish that. Two, I think the message we are taking to any political party is a difficult one for them to understand, given the fact that 2024 is not far. Parties tend to think that polarization gets them votes. We have taken a much broader view. We think that elections are not so important. We think that the country and the nation is much more important. So if you're looking for a message to any political party from us, I'm afraid we will fail for quite a while. They will still look at seats in parliament. Having said that, we are addressing the larger audience of our countrymen, whom we believe are wanting peace, are secular. I have repeatedly said that India continues to be secular because 80% of India is Hindu. So my point remains that bulk of my nation is secular, and my message will be to them is to ignore the so-called hotheads that you were talking of, who are riding on the on municipal elections and popularity of the ruling party or the opposition party to get some leverage in society.
Sure. Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Qureshi, Lieutenant General Shah, as well as Mr. Jung, for joining us on this discussion. Thank you so much. We also have Dr. Imam Umar Ahmad Ilyasi, Chief Imam of the All India Imam Organization, and it is on your invitation that Mohan Bhagwat visited your home, mosque, as well as the madrasa. Mr. Ilyasi, what did you speak to Mohan Bhagwat about?
दरअसल ये मेरा उनका ज़ाती निमंत्रण था मेरा उनको, और मैंने उनको ज़ाती निमंत्रण दिया था इमाम हाउस आने के लिए। तो वो यहाँ पर मेरे निमंत्रण पर इमाम हाउस पहुँचे। हमारा कोई किसी तरह का कोई कार्यक्रम नहीं था, पारिवारिक कार्यक्रम था, और पारिवारिक उसके तहत वो आए और हम सब मिले।
You think, Mr. Ilyasi, that this could be an image building exercise?
देखिए, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि उनका यहाँ आना एक अच्छा संदेश है, क्योंकि वो पहली मर्तबा मस्जिद में आए, इमाम हाउस में आए हैं, और उसके बाद मेरे साथ मेरे मदरसे में भी उनका जाना हुआ है आज, और मदरसे में भी उन्होंने बच्चों के साथ एक अच्छी चर्चा करी है उन्होंने। 300 बच्चे मदरसों के, उनके साथ उनकी अच्छी वार्तालाप हुई है। तो मुझे लगता है कि ये एक अच्छा संदेश है, क्योंकि हमारे सबके धर्म ज़रूर अलग हो सकते हैं, हमारी परंपराएं ज़रूर अलग हो सकती हैं, हमारे इबादत करने के तरीके ज़रूर अलग हो सकते हैं, लेकिन हमारा सबसे बड़ा जो धर्म है वो इंसान और इंसानियत का है। उसके नाते भारत में रहते हैं तो हम सब भारतीय हैं, तो आओ हम सब मिलकर भारत को मजबूत करें, भारतीयता को मजबूत करें, राष्ट्र सर्वोपरि है, यही पैगाम है, यही संदेश है।
Mr. Ilyasi, on one hand you've got the UP government serving madrasas and waqf properties, and Mr. Bhagwat going to a madrasa. What meaning do you read in both these things?
नहीं, इसके पीछे मतलब क्या निकाला जाए? इसके पीछे मतलब एक ही है कि हमें सबको मिलकर अपने देश, जिस तरह से हमारे प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी जिस तरह से हमारे इस देश को जिस ऊंचाई पे लेके जा रहे हैं, और मुझे लगता है कि उसमें हम सबको भी चाहिए कि हम उसमें अपना योगदान दें, अपने देश को आगे लेके जाएं। यही हमारा मकसद है, यही संदेश भी है।
You think, Mr. Ilyasi, that this could change potentially the image among a few in the Muslim community of the RSS and the BJP?
देखिए, मुझे तो यही लगता है कि चूँकि हमारे देश की यही एक विशेषता है, अनेकता में एकता, तो मुझे लगता है कि यही हमेशा रहेगी, और हम सब एक ही हैं और एक ही हैं और एक ही रहेंगे। तो जहाँ तक आज हमें इस प्रयास को, जो राष्ट्र के लिए हमें सबको आगे आना चाहिए, उसकी आपको भी ज़रूरत है, मुझे भी ज़रूरत है, और हर एक भारतीय को ज़रूरत है। हम सब मिलकर आगे बढ़ें इसमें।
No, the question that I was asking was, do you think the Muslim community will acknowledge and appreciate this outreach?
मुझे लगता है कि सबको मानना चाहिए, क्योंकि देखिए, आने जाने से जब कोई किसी के यहाँ आता है या कोई किसी के यहाँ जाता है, तो आपस में जब मिलते हैं तो मुझे लगता है कि बहुत सारी गलतफहमियां भी दूर होती हैं। तो संवाद जो है, डायलॉग जो है, वो तो कंटिन्यूअस एक प्रोसेस है, जिसे रहते रहना चाहिए, होते रहना चाहिए।
All right, Mr. Ilyasi, many thanks for joining us. With that, we've come to the end of this broadcast right here on Breaking Views. But news continues on the other side. Stay with us.